Okay, jumping into EFT. EFT was created in the 90s by some male and pale dudes. And the way that I use it is for emotional regulation. So if I'm really activated or there's a trigger or some shit's going on with, I don't know, I'm having a conflict or something, I know that all I need to do is identify how I'm feeling, identify what the emotion is. If I'm feeling completely irritated, or if I'm super angry, or if I am just feeling tremendous amount of grief. Once I know what emotion I'm feeling, then I go and I look at videos online that are EFT tapping for that emotion. If you look online, there's just a lot of people who do not look like me, or do not talk like me, or do not care about the things that I care about how systems of oppression are things that we're constantly navigating, and about how important it is to create spaces to heal, spaces to have fun, spaces to love and have joy. So I decided that this was something I needed to translate and make culturally relevant to people of color, to queer people, to trans people, and to people who have a critical consciousness of oppression, essentially. This modality would not exist without the information that they utilize from traditional Chinese medicine, from acupressure. So when I hear a lot of people say, like, the shit looks really weird, it does, or the shit is really white, it's not. It's our own ancestry, our wisdom from our communities of color around the world, and we're just remembering it. Right. So this person basically took acupressure points, and which he learned from traditional Chinese medicine, and paired it with psychology. So that's the affirmation part. This process utilizes the information from meridian points, which are the acupressure points. Meridians are energy channels that basically course through your body. And when we're tapping in different locations, each acupressure point corresponds to a different organ or bodily function. And so what's happening when we're tapping, we're essentially knocking on the door of our organs, and we're like, hey, what's good? Wake up. Please wake up. Please wake up. And because we're hitting so many different big organs through the tapping sequence that I'll teach you, that basically gets them ready, like, oh, okay, wait, my body is like calling me. Something needs to be processed right now. When we are tapping and we couple the tapping, the somatic portion of it, when we couple it with affirmations, with psychological affirmations, what happens is quite amazing. You go from just knocking on the door of your organs and saying, hey, wake up, we're processing some shit, to picking up the phone essentially and like calling your nervous system and being like, hey, we're experiencing hella anxiety right now. This is a really anxious time, but we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. We're letting the energy flow. Thank you. Let me know if it cuts off again. Thank you. Um, so energy and emotions, and this is the thing that I love and I'm so passionate about. Emotions, energy in motion is the system of messages essentially that we get that inform us what we need. So for example, if I am feeling super angry, anger has anger absolutely has a purpose. The purpose is to inform you that someone is disrespecting you, or that someone is hurting you and you need to take action. Okay? So what ends up happening so much, because we've been taught, we have been conditioned and programmed to not listen to our body, to not trust our gut, right? So that we can be productive fucking citizens of the world. And fuck that shit. So I love EFT because it allows us to actually let emotions run through our body the way that it's supposed to be. Just running through our body quickly, giving us information about what we need in the moment, and then we move on. Emotions are not meant to stay in our body forever. They're literally just passing through. And what ends up happening for so many reasons, because we're programmed to suppress, because we don't have skills to regulate, because it's not acceptable to be vulnerable or human in a lot of spaces. I talk a lot about being neurodivergent, living with complex PTSD. I think a lot of us do, whether or not we have a formal diagnosis. And the reason why I say this is not to be alarmist, it's to actually normalize the fact that many of us have experienced chronic and complex trauma that has had an effect on our body and our nervous systems. And so EFT is essentially a safe way to experience emotions and trust that you're not going to be stuck there forever. It's safe to feel your anger. You're not going to destroy the world. You might change it, right? But we fear that it's going to be an ugly expression of who we are. We fear that we'll never ever be happy again, or we'll be too sad. I want to really rewire how we think about those emotions. It is okay. You can set 10, 15 minutes to the side to let that emotion run through you and release it. That is the healthiest thing that we can do. Another reason why I really, really love EFT is I'm super fidgety. So meditating doesn't always work for me. I really love that I get to do something physical. It's somatic. And this is also, I see that we have a question and I'll get to it in a second. This is also something that has really helped me continue healing, because after a while, all of the work that I've been doing in therapy for the past 10 years, I've consciously been able to like name and shame many experiences in my life, but talking about it only gets you so far. But we have our bodies that communicate these emotions. And so when we're talking about it in therapy, it is super helpful and absolutely necessary for us as very cerebral, intellectual people. But what are we doing with our bodies, right? This is a practice that allows us to be in our bodies. Okay, Danae, have you found that some folks don't even recognize they are feeling activated before they can even get to the point of finding out what the emotion is? So I think this question is basically like asking me if, and please tell me if I'm interpreting this correctly. It's hard to know if you're activated. It's hard to know and identify what your emotion is. I totally get that. I absolutely feel like that is something that I spent a lot of time trying to just navigate. And my work with young people, where I'm teaching them emotional regulation, I have charts and shit that say like, yo, if you're drawing a blank, can you just look at this piece of paper that is a menu of different emotions that humans have, right? And maybe just being able to find one that is the closest. It's very helpful to have specific ideas of what you want to do EFT about. That's how you utilize it with the internet. That's how you utilize it with the free resources and apps and stuff and all of that exists, which I will be sharing after, just a couple of resources where you can get more information. But this is why I do EFT one-on-one in my coaching practice, because I can hear you talk and I can also help you identify. We co-create that. And I know, hey, and I know that it's really just helpful to have another person be able to mirror back to you what they're hearing, right? Because when we're really activated, it's hard to access our rational minds and be like, oh shit, yeah, actually, I'm feeling very da 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 da. So if you can, I highly recommend working with someone to get some EFT and get some really specific EFT, especially because it is something that rewires your mind and it creates healthy neural pathways that allow you to have a more balanced experience with your emotions overall over time. So in the short term, it's amazing for emotional regulation. In the short term, if I'm hella heated, I'm about to like fight with my brother, believe me, I have done EFT and I'm like sitting there banging my body, like getting this anger out, and I get it out. And that allows me to not blow up and create worse circumstances with people that I'm in conflict with, right? And the long-term effect of it is that I learn that it is safe for me to express my anger. And over time, the impact is that it allows you to not be afraid of those emotions. You have these neural pathways that are created through the affirmations and that are remembered through your body, right? You have all of that. That makes it safe then for you to feel heartbroken, for you to step into that deep wound of abandonment that you have since childhood, right? I hope this is making sense. Thank you for the question. I also want you to know that this practice is not about perfection. It's not about perfection. There's a lot that's happening in our bodies. It's not like if we don't hit the meridian point, it's not like this is going to hurt us. There are no negative side effects, no known negative side effects of doing this work. Are no contraindications, meaning that it's open for anyone. People who are pregnant sometimes can't listen to specific healing sound frequencies. So in my sound practice, I know binaural beats for pregnant people aren't something that I'm going to recommend to everyone, right? So that's a contraindication for sound healing. But for this, there are no contraindications, which is pretty rad. It makes it really accessible. Another thing that I love about it is just how accessible it is. It can be free if you can utilize the resources online. It's also something you do with your own body. If you have limited mobility and you can't get to the top point, or you can't get to certain different trigger points, that is okay. You can tap the same one and it is going to have an effect. So again, not about perfection, but I do want to make sure that people are getting comfortable tapping the right spot. So if you feel brave, I recommend turning on your camera. So our trigger points, when we start EFT, and you will see that different practitioners who have videos online and everything, they sometimes do different trigger points. Like some people will go through the hands. Most people, they go through the same ones that I'm going to teach you right now. And you'll also see some people doing it with just on one side, with one hand. That's fine. I like doing both, again, because I'm fidgety. Like, I just like, moving around and stuff. This is the first trigger point. It's in the center of the side of your palm. Perfect. I see people putting up their hands. And I like tapping with 3 fingers. And the amount of pressure that you're using is not like, again, sometimes when I'm angry, I'm like, bah, bah, bah. But it's more just like if somebody was in front of you and like the line was moving and you would tap them on the shoulder, be like, hey, that's the kind of pressure, right? So nothing too hard. Great. So when we start off, there are 3 affirmations that we say in the beginning while tapping this point right here. It's known as the karate chop point. And we start with this one and we end with this one. After we do those 3 affirmations, we move on to the next point, which is right at the beginning of your eyebrows. So I like doing it with 2 fingers. Some people like doing it with 1. It's right there in the beginning of your eyebrows. Beautiful. Everyone I can see is doing it great. Awesome. The next point is the side of your eyes. It's not your temples. It's not your hairline. It's literally that bone that's right at the side of your eye. And you want to be gentle. I have to remind myself, be gentle, because again, pa, pa, pa. And you can do it like this, or you can do it like this. Whatever feels good to you. You can switch it up all the time too, as we continue to go through the points. Awesome. The next point is under your eyes. So again, feeling for that bone directly under your pupils. Perfect. Everyone looks great. The next one is underneath your nose and between your top lip, right here. And for my folks who have nails, you can do this. Or with 2. The one after that is right between your bottom lip and your chin. It's that little fold right here. And you're just going to tap right there. It already feels good. The next point is about 2 inches below your collarbone. So those little like 2 main points, 2 inches below, and then just 1 or 2 inches to the side. You feel this, and I'm gonna try to show you guys this. I really like this point. This one's one of my favorite ones. I want you all to just rub right here and feel this point right here. It's known as the sore spot. And I'm not entirely sure what meridian and what channel this correlates to, but it's one of the most like effective ones. Sometimes when I can't do a full round of EFT, I will just give myself an affirmation and I'll just rub right here. And you can poke around to see, where is it really sore? Like, where does it feel just a little tender, more tender than other places in my body? If that is not something you can locate, I don't want you to feel bad. For a long time, I was not very connected to my body and I couldn't necessarily feel things. This is a practice. So right now we're just kind of learning where the things are. If you can feel the soreness, awesome. That feels like a tender point for you, awesome. If it doesn't, don't worry about it either. The next point is kind of the weirdest one in that it's located in an awkward spot. And sometimes people like doing it just one side. It's right under your armpit. So like there's another little sore spot in the side. And I like to do it like this with both hands. I look like a little chicken. You kind of just can, with this right here, just hit the sides. Yeah. Or you can cross over and pat like this. It's whatever's most comfortable. The final point is the top of your head, literally the center. It's like your crown. It's the very top of your head. And what I like to do is use both hands, and I use all of these fingers, and I just kind of tap a little bit up and down, not like all the way down, unless that feels good for you, in which case, be with your body. Do it if it feels good. The meridian is up here, and so I just like tapping. Sometimes I'll bring it closer, go back. And we do rounds like that. And so I will walk you through, we'll do a specific one, but we'll do a couple of rounds. And what's really beautiful is that when you finish, we go back to the karate chop point and we assess how we're feeling. So when we start, I ask you like, okay, this emotion that you're feeling, let's say you're feeling really triggered, on a scale from 1 to 10, how triggered are you? If 10 is like the most triggered you've ever been, then okay, great, we assess that. That's our baseline, right? When we wrap up and we finish doing our tapping, again, this one is our last one, we go back to the karate chop zone. And I'll ask everyone to put in the chat what the number is that they're on that scale. Okay, does that make sense? Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Ty, let me check our time. We are doing great with time. I love it. Okay, any questions, comments, anything before I transition to having a little bit of a discussion and wanting to hear about how you all have been doing? And for this portion, we will stop recording or pause the recording just so that we can, maintain our conversation with the people who are here today. So thank you, Shauna, for hitting record. Angel, baby. I'm drinking hella water. Okay. Sick. I am going to assume that people are back. We're going to start off right here. So for anyone who missed, if anyone came in a little after we did our trigger points, what I want you to do is just copy my movements. So I'm going to be first just starting off with about 3 fingers, just tapping the center of the side of your palm. And also breathe. Sometimes we forget to breathe. So it's really helpful for me to see folks too, because I can monitor your breathing, I can pick up on things that you're feeling, and it's just really helpful for me as a practitioner to read your energy and be able to kind of share stuff that I think is holding. Okay, great. So this is the dialectical portion of it where we include affirmations. So I'm going to say something and I want you to say it out loud after me. Or you can say it in your head, silently in your head after me. But I love this. I already saw Shauna yawn. So another thing about tapping on these meridian points, and anytime we're doing energy work, if you yawn, that is an excellent sign. I ain't gonna take it personal. It's an excellent sign. It means energy is moving out. It means energy is moving. So if you're already feeling that, dope. So I want you first to keep in mind, I really want you to tap in to how hurtful the world has been lately. And I want you to just picture the things that have really been heartbreaking and overwhelming. Just taking a moment to picture that while still tapping and breathing. Now, on a scale from 1 to 10, I want you to think about how you're feeling at this moment right now. I know we've had some discussions. You might be feeling good, might be feeling seen, and I hope so. But I really want you to tap into the discomfort. Because when we do EFT, we're normally activated, right? So I want you all to really hold in your mind's eye what is heartbreaking about right now, what is hard. And on a scale from 1 to 10, how chill are you? How present, how joyous, how embracing of the unknown are you? 1 is like, bitch, I'm there. 10 is like, yeah, I'm really not fucking there. I am the opposite of there. I am really activated. I am super grieving. And I want you all to take a moment and share that in the chat. So 1, you're hella good. You're super going with the flow. You're having a great, easy time. 10, you're struggling. Things are hard. Things are really challenging. And I also want you to know we have a 7 and a 9, 8, 8. I want you to know we're not numbers, right? So a number doesn't actually say anything about who we are. We're just getting a baseline measurement, all right? Cool. 6 today feels weird. Word 6-ish, 7, 6, 5-ish. Tight. I think I'm also a 5. Okay, so breathing, yawning, and repeating after me. Even though the world has been so overwhelming, I fully love and accept myself. Even though the world is hella fucking heartbreaking right now, I love, uphold, support, and accept myself. Even though the world is super activating and overwhelming and sad, I love, honor, and respect myself fully. So many yawns. I love it. All right, we're going to go to our first point, which is right by the eyebrows. Tapping right at the front of your eyebrows. There is so much heartbreak in the world right now. Everywhere I look, there is heartbreak. Sides of the eyes. There's so much to grieve. There's so much complexity. Under the eyes. I can't seem to get away from it. Under the nose. And sometimes it takes over me. Sometimes the emotions take over me. Under the lips. And I feel really helpless. I feel really powerless. Collarbones. So right underneath your collarbones. Remembering to breathe. And if any emotions, any crying or anything comes up, let it go. Let it go. You are already in the process of healing. The world feels broken right now. The earth is suffering right now. Sides. So right under your arm. Right here. There's so much suffering right now. Top of the head, right in the middle in your crown. Breathing. I feel really heartbroken. And I want you now to imagine what is heartbreaking. What's breaking your heart? What's hurting your heart? Tapping the top of the eyebrows, if you're not already doing so. Beautiful. What breaks your heart? Sides of the eyes. I'm really overwhelmed by. Think about what you're overwhelmed by. Is it your living situation? Is it your job? Is it the fact that motherfuckers in the mission, like all these white boys, aren't wearing masks and are being hella disrespectful to your community? Maybe it is. But think about what you're overwhelmed by. under the eyes. I can't unsee the unrest in the world. Under the nose. All of the execution of Black and brown people all over the world. Under the lips. White supremacy in the spotlight right now. Breathing, breathing. Collarbones. And everything just feels really, really heavy. Even when I'm okay. Under the arms. Think about what makes you feel heavy. What's been challenging for you lately? Take a moment to just think about it. Keep tapping and breathing. Think about what has been stressful or painful. Top of the head. And it doesn't seem like this is going to end anytime soon. I'm overwhelmed by how many things are happening. Eyebrows. There's just so much unknown. Sides of the eyes, so much unknown. Under the eyes. And we don't know who's going to make it. Under the nose. There's people dying right now. Under the lips. And it breaks my heart. Collarbones. And it makes it hard to embrace the unknown. It makes it challenging to be excited about the future. They're under the arms. It makes me question if we even have a future. And that makes me really sad. Top of the head. But I also know that when everything is uncertain, anything is possible. Anything is possible. Top of the eyebrows. I'm learning that now. Sides of the eyes. And I believe it's true. I believe this is an opportunity. Under the eyes. For greater alignment in the world. Under the nose. For more justice in the world. Under the lips. For more love. More opportunities to express our love to our communities and to ourselves. Collarbones. I trust and believe that breakdowns lead to breakthroughs. I trust and believe that breakdowns lead to breakthroughs. Under your arms, beautiful, everyone's doing great. The world is breaking down. I am also sometimes breaking down. Top of the head. And I trust my breakthrough is coming. Eyebrows. It's on its way. Sides of the eyes. I choose to believe it is on its way. Under the eyes. Just like the new moon, you can't see her, but she is still there. Under the nose. Progress is the same. Under the lips. And I believe it is coming. In fact, it is already here. Collarbones. It is already in me. I'm already growing and healing. Under the arms. I'm finding safety within myself. It is safe to welcome my emotions. And it is appropriate for me to soothe myself. Top of the head. There's no room for self-judgment. About whether or not I'm being productive. Eyebrows. I am a human in the world who believes in love. Sides of the eyes. I believe in reparations and justice. Under the eyes. I am open to facilitating that. Under the nose. In my life and in my community. Under the lips. Because we deserve it. It is our time. It is our time. Collarbones. The world is mine. And any energy of love that I share makes the world a better place. No matter how big or small, I am making the world a better place. I am making the world a better place. Under the arms, because I show up for myself. I know to show up for myself. Top of the head. And it feels good to feel my strength. Feels good to trust myself. I'm already on my way. Eyebrows. And I trust that the world is too. Sides of the eyes. I'm so excited for the future. We are co-creating. Under the eyes. I'm so excited for giving and receiving love. Because it is our time. Under the nose. And I compassionately remind myself of this invisible work that I do every day. Under the lips. It is my contribution to the world. By loving and holding myself. Collarbones. We're unstoppable. I feel it. We are unstoppable. Under the arms. This is our time. This is our future. This is our time. This is our future. Top of the head. Another world is possible. And I am proof of it. All right, we're going back to the karate chop point, just tapping here, repeating after me. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. All right. Let's put our hands down. Let's feel just getting back into our body. Taking a breath. Being sure to oxygenate our minds, our bodies, our energetic bodies. And drinking some water. Please drink some water. How are y'all feeling on a scale from 1 to 10? 10 being, I ain't got no chill. 1 being, I'm zenned out and tapped into the universe. 1, hell yes. I love it. Let's see. You can show me or you can type it in. Wow. 2, 1, 3, 3, 3. I want to remind people where we started. 7, 9, 8, 8, 6, 6, 6, 5, 5. A 1-ish. I like it. Tight. So y'all just did a round of EFT. I want to open it up for anybody who wants to share what that experience was like. You can share in the chat. You can write your name in the chat and I can unmute you, or Shauna can unmute you and you can share. I think this is a good time to stop recording. Thank you, Shauna.